The EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini begins her two-day visit in the region here at the Muqata in Ramallah with a clear message to both the Palestinian and the Israeli leadership that the status quo is not an option. Meeting here in Ramallah with the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, Palestinian Prime Minister Rami Hamdallah, and former chief negotiator Saeb Erekat, Mogherini reiterates the EU's commitment to peace and security in the region, as well to the establishment of a Palestinian state. She says that the status quo is not an option, and that is why the EU is seeking to expand its role in the region, and that this visit's goal is to see if there's a path to restarting negotiations. She also adds, speaking to the press, that the most ancient conflict in the region doesn't have to be the one that lasts the longest. So after a brief visit here in Ramallah, Mogherini will be continuing to Jerusalem, where it's probably the highlight of this visit, a first meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister after he formed a new narrow right-wing government. Part of Mogherini's mission on this visit is to try and understand the vibes of the new Israeli government, how much it is committed to the two-state solution. The Prime Minister will also be wanting to discuss the Iran negotiations between six world powers and Iran, but Mogherini has made it clear that the goal of this visit and the topic of this visit is the two-state solution and what is its horizon. Let's hear what she had to say earlier today. Well, after a brief visit to Ramallah, the EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini is set to begin the second leg of this trip to the region here in Jerusalem in just a short while, with a meeting and a dinner with the Israeli Prime Minister, the first actually diplomatic challenge that Netanyahu's new narrow right-wing government is facing. Earlier today, Mogherini did state in Ramallah in her meetings with both Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas and with the Palestinian Prime Minister Rami Hamdallah that the goal of this trip is to try and check and try and see if there's a path forward that can enable a restart of negotiations between Israel and the Palestinians. And this message is mainly directed to Netanyahu, following the doubts in the international community of Netanyahu's commitment to the two-state solution after his pre-election comments, which doubted the establishment of a Palestinian state. At the same time, Mogherini arrived at a very tense period in the Israel-EU relations because there is growing impatience in Europe to move forward with punitive measures and sanctions against the Israeli settlement policy. At the same time, Mogherini is hoping to use her leverage, the EU leverage, as Israel's main trade partner in order to push Netanyahu forward. The message is clear from Mogherini's point of view. The status quo is not an option. Let's hear what she had to say earlier today in Ramallah.